Hello everybody, this is 13 with Superior Mobile. Tonight I'm coming to you from a very peaceful night here in Tarpon Springs, Florida with my latest headlight projector retrofit. This one was pretty fun. I had a customer provide absolutely everything, which would generally make me extremely nervous because customers don't usually know the products that they should be purchasing. But in this case it actually worked out pretty well. He got a lot of really good stuff. So this gets to be a little bit of a walkthrough as to what I built, how I built it, as well as a little bit of a product review. So hopefully it proves both informative and entertaining for you. For starters, the headlights are for a 2005 Chevy Avalanche. I believe he said 2500. And the projector lens themselves are the Morimoto's, what are those things? The D2S Mini Square 3.0s, I believe is what they're referred to. I have never worked with these before. And overall, I gotta say, the quality on the actual product itself was really nice. I appreciated the all-metal construction. I did not like the shape. That's not the point, though. He wanted a little bit more square of a projector, rather than, as you know, that most of them are circular. So those were nice in that sense as far as the aesthetics, as they match the housing better. My only primary complaint with these things is that the solenoid motor is off to the side on the bottom of them. And so, although it made retrofitting on one side very easy, on the other side, it gave me a huge conflict as far as coming in contact with the lower shroud inside of that housing. Not that you can tell, but it was a pain in the butt, and it was something I didn't appreciate. I just feel that as far as the design goes, it could have been done a little bit better, slightly more recessed, something like that. But then again, if you have a retrofitter that's worth his salt, it's not a huge issue. So, as far as the other components, what he used, he got the Morimoto 3.5 ballasts, which are these guys right here. As far as aesthetics, I gotta say, they're pretty. They're all metal construction. They're pretty heavy. They're solid. So I'm impressed with that. And good, solid connectors. Dig on that. And standard whatever nonsense there. What confuses me is the bulbs that he got are these, they're called XB35s. And even though on their website they claim that they're 35 watt bulbs, however these are 50 watt ballasts. So although they assured the customer that they would work, I don't personally get that. I would believe that you would have a 50 watt bulb to go with a 50 watt ballast. As in my supplier, you have options between a 35 watt bulb with 35 watt ballast and a 55 watt bulb and a 55 watt ballast. So mathematically speaking, I don't really get it, but whatever. They say it works, so cool, so be it. As far as this is the relay harness, it's a dual relay harness that goes to the, well, it's not really a 9006 connector, but it'll go to a 9006 for direct plug and play. For that much, again, I say these are quality plugs, so I give them props on that. I like them, I like them. Good looming on the thing. It's pretty. I dig it. It's got some heat shrink on the end. So it's quality made. I got no complaints with that. My one beef with their wiring harness is the fact that it only has one side input. So basically you're going to hook that up to one side of the headlight and it's going to control the relays for both the left and the right side. Now, yes, that is a solid, reliable design. But the engineer in me is screaming, I believe in redundancy, and I would like to have seen two plugs, one that goes to the left and one that goes to the right. Not that you're ever going to be turning on one headlight and not the other, it's just redundant. So if in the very unfortunate event something happens to the wiring on one side, you still at least have one headlight. So with this setup, if you have this hooked up to your right headlight, because that's presumably where your battery is going to be, something on the right side of the engine bay, and something happens over there, you lose both headlights. It just irritates me, but other than that, honestly, I would use it, you know, but if I was to make a harness, I would do it differently. Now, these are the plugs that go onto the end connectors, which are currently all wrapped up or whatever right there, that go to the high beam solenoid. Now, for the record, wrapping in electrical tape like this, that is never an acceptable means of insulating a terminal connection, ever, especially not under the hood where you have moisture and vibration. This is not acceptable. This ghetto rig setup that you see here is for testing purposes and demonstration purposes ever. So just because you see this does not mean that you can do this in your car. Do not do that in your car. So these plugs are for that, which is really cool if you weren't retaining the high beam. So the problem that this customer is gonna run into is he would essentially have the high beam plug right here and an additional high beam plug right there. Now the solution to that is pretty much you just tap these wires into the wiring of the factory harness right there. So it'll basically, this will be hardwired and that'll have the plug. So that plug really isn't any use, but again, it's nice that they provide it, so I dig on that. If you were not going to retain this high beam in a different application, then that would be perfect. All you would do is basically slap that plug on the end of these two wires and plug and play and you'd be good to go. So I dig on that. They provided these. These are Scotch locks. All right, without swearing, I'm just gonna tell you, I do not like these. You wanna know where these go? Right there, okay? I do not use Scotch locks, I do not use T-taps, I do not believe in them. They are the devil. If you want to incur electrical problems in your vehicle, use a Scotch lock or a T-tap. I guarantee you over time it will fail. So, it irritates the hell out of me that they provide these and they say these are the proper way of connections. I understand for the do-it-yourselfer, it's super easy. You plug your wire in, you crimp it down, boom, you got it. It's not good. You have corrosion issues, you have the wires get loose over time. I don't care that they jam all that little junk in there that says, ooh, it's gonna insulate it and stuff. No, I don't believe it. You're basically taking this little guillotine blade and chopping it into a wire that supposedly is transferring 35 to 50 watts of current. Do you really think that cutting a wire that is a specifically engineered gauge is going to be good for the car? Like, I just don't get it. I would never use it. So, even though I like the stuff and I dig on Morimoto, they're apparently the name on the internet as far as like HID equipment and stuff, that's just my objective review of the products. So of course I have to do my shameless promotion of Retro Solutions, which is my supplier. I dig on them. They're very helpful. If you use my coupon code SM13, you get 10% off the order. But by all means, I am not bashing on any of the Morimoto equipment, which I believe was all purchased from the retrofitsource.com, which is a great informative website. They have an excellent forum network. I like them. They're not my supplier. So, you know, I have to be a little biased on something, right? So let's get these things fired up so you at least know what's going on. I believe the wiring here is pretty simple. I've already explained to you don't use electrical tape and all that jazz. So let's get them turned on here. This is my bay door. And that is our light. So these are the 50 watt ballasts with, I believe, 35 watt bulbs, or so they claim 50 watt bulbs. I don't really know. This is the 5,000 Kelvin temperature rating. So as you see, it started out pretty blue, but then glows to be a nice white. We got a great beam cutoff, a little splash, and that little splash up there. So that's going to illuminate your like highway road signs and that sort of jazz. And if I move this around, you can actually see the difference between that cutoff and that cutoff. So granted, these are just sitting on a piece of wood on a table. So I mean, I can't aim them for the truck right here. Ideally, once they're on the car, you can aim them. Because these are adjustable. So if I turn off the light, you see, man, we got some powerful light output. This is real nice. I powered them on just a minute ago when the bay door was still open and the warehouse across the street was lit up. So I gotta say, they're pretty nice. I am not complaining on the output. And let's see, if we do our high beam, yep, there we are. So that's the high beam. Now what happened was, not only did that, oh, let's focus, not only did the solenoid pull away the little shield, so we actually have high beam on the HIDs, it also kicked on the high beam bulbs themselves, which are halogens. So that's what that yellow blob right above is there. That's actually the high beam location, I guess you'd call it. So, I don't know if we can see in there. And ironically, that's not ironic at all, but what's real cool is that the high beams being halogen are that warmer color of white, somewhere in, say, like the 4,000, maybe even a little bit shyer than that Kelvin range. And then we have the cooler white of the HIDs, which gives you, in my opinion, a better spectral range, which will give you really good light output if you need to use your high beams out on the road. And so that again is your low beam, since I forgot to wander around and show you that. Whee! I mean, it's not like you can see the damn things because they're so bright, but that's them. They light up. Ta-da! Oh yeah, and one last thing, I wanted to talk about the ceiling of these housings. So everyone always says to use butyl. Personally, I just haven't had success with butyl in the past, so I'm not really a huge fan of it. So the customer wanted me to try again on these, so I sealed them with the butyl. You know, you put it in there, whatever, heat it up in the oven, squish it together. I'm sitting there with my welding gloves, holding them together for a good 5-10 minutes until it cools down, and sure as shit, man, it's held together, and it's waterproof, and I'll give it that. It does not make me feel comfortable, so I went back behind it, and I sealed it again. So this is like double, triple sealed now. But yeah, whatever, I just wanted to touch on that because maybe I'm missing something on it. So if you do your headlights with butyl, all the more power to you. I bet you it's less work than the way that I do it, and I am envious of you. But for me, I absolutely, especially since I'm mailing these away, I like my local clientele, so when I have to mail something away, I do not want them to have problems. And that is high beam. Looks like a Rorschach test, right? It's pretty trippy. Whew! Alright, that was a good speech. Thanks for paying attention for this long. I really appreciate it. I really wish you'd focus there, little camera. I guess it doesn't like it. It's a lot of light, man. So again, this is 13 with Superior Mobile. Check me out at facebook.com/superiormobile. Website is 13r1an.com. That's about it, man. If you want to email me for more information or any pricing or anything like that, or if you got questions, then by all means go ahead and do it. Generally, I'm a pretty nice guy. Other than that, have a great night, man. See ya.